In this video cheat sheet, we're going to be configuring a router for MPLS forwarding. We're going to start off with the baseline show command of show IP ceph summary to see if ceph is running on the router. By default, pretty much all routers that are Cisco routers run ceph, but to enable MPLS forwarding on a router, you have to have ceph enabled. So I figured I would just show you how to do that just in case for some reason ceph is not enabled on your router. So then we're going to enable a debug command, debug IP ceph table, to watch how things unfold when we configure a router for MPLS forwarding. And then we're going to finish up with some verification show commands of show IP ceph summary and show IP ceph. So let's look at the network topology. Router 2 here is where we're going to be enabling MPLS forwarding and configuring ceph. It's already been done on the rest of the network. We're just going to be looking here at router 2. So the first command that I'm going to execute is the show IP ceph summary to see if ceph is already enabled. And we have some information here, but as you can see, everything is basically zeros. There would be some output right here in parentheses if there were some entries in the table. We have no leaves. There's nothing going on here as far as ceph goes. So ceph is not enabled, and plus I know that because I disabled it right before this lab. So now, like I said earlier, I'm going to do the debug IP ceph table command so that we can watch how things unfold when ceph is enabled. So the debug IP ceph table. Be very careful when you do debug commands in your production network. There are certain commands that will bring a router to its knees, especially if it's an older router or depending on what debug command you're doing. So just be careful with that. That's just my public service announcement. So now I'm going to enable ceph, and you do that with it's the global command IP ceph, because you turn it on globally on the router. And as you can see, our ceph table from our debug output is getting all kinds of information now. We're getting events up for all these different prefixes that are throughout the network. So we know that ceph is receiving this information and then is putting the ceph information into the ceph table. So let's now turn ceph off. I'm sorry, we're not turning ceph off, we're turning the debugging off. And now let's go back and do our verification show commands of show IP ceph summary. Now if you remember before, let's go back up here and look at it real quick. We had no routes, there was no leaves, and there was nothing here off of the table. So no routes, no leaves, and nothing off the table there. Where now we have 39 routes and 39 leaves, and then 39 entries right here off the table. So we know that ceph is working from that show command and also from all the debug output that we received. Let's also do a show IP ceph real quick to look at the ceph table. And there's all the prefixes that we received via the routing protocol, which is OSPF, and then ceph takes that and builds its ceph table with a prefix and a next hop and what interface it goes out. So we started off by the baseline of a show IP ceph summary command to see if ceph was already implemented on the router for MPLS forwarding. We then enabled the debug IP ceph table command to watch the events unfold as we configured ceph for MPLS forwarding on router 2. And then we finished up with some show commands of show IP ceph summary, compared it to the baseline to see what changed, and we saw that all those prefixes had been learned via the routes and the leaves. And then we finished up with a show IP ceph command to look at the new ceph table for prefixes, next hop, and the outgoing interfaces associated with it. I hope this has been helpful, and that is how you implement MPLS forwarding on a router.